is very effective. It's a very effective way for advisors to get in front of companies, own your backyard, own your community. And I'm Robert Van Arlen, business strategist for the Senior Advisory Group. And I have to say I'm excited to be here today. A little bit on my background. I am a speaker, coach, trainer, get an opportunity to speak worldwide. My last speech was in a little town called Amsterdam in Holland, and had about 5,000 people on that stage at the Heineken Theater. Love what I do, but I also love really working with advisors that are focused and really want to grow their practice, and that's why I'm here for you. Services provided by Senior Advisory Group, and today we're going to talk about a very special program. I have a couple of guests that I'm going to introduce here shortly. And I think they're really going to be able to help you understand, how to really get in front of the right type of people and companies, how to grow your practice, how to build a business that's ongoing, and that's what SOFA is all about. The Society of Financial Awareness. Great program. Steve Van Meter. Let me tell you a little bit about this guy, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. Steve is one of our first advisors that got involved with SOFA about a year ago, and Steve is producer in the great town of Bakersfield, California. And if anybody's been to Bakersfield, they know that it's not necessarily the thriving metropolis of the United States, but it's a great place. And I've been there personally to see Steve, and Steve went from literally 0 to 6 million as a producer his first year, 15 years of experience in the industry. But he gets this teaching adult education courses, which he's going to talk a little bit about, which was a great situation for him to partner and work with SOFA and through us. And he has become one of our leaders in SOFA and really helping others understand how to work this program and the benefits of program. But I want to take a minute just to talk to Steve a little bit. Steve, tell me, you started with us here at Senior Advisory Group about a year ago. What were you doing before?
Before, I was primarily working in the 403B market. That was how I was introduced to the business. And over the years, at least in California, I don't know how many people are familiar with the 403B market, but about every 2, maybe 3 years, there was some new law or regulation. They were trying to get rid of advisors. And so as you're building your business and you're watching legislation come through to legislate you out of business, it kind of spurs you to maybe try to do something different. And so with that, I tried to move out of the teacher market or expand into the boomer or senior market over the years.
So you made this expansion over the years, but you selected and you checked out a number of IMOs and you chose us. Talk to me, what has been the thing that you benefited the most in working with us here at Senior Advisory Group?
Well, I mean, Robert, I can tell you, I didn't just check out a few IMOs. I checked out lots of IMOs. I was the guy that would get the magazine and flip through, and I might see, Joe Smith, $10 million producer. Come learn my system. I wanted to be a $10 million system. I thought Joe had a system. So I would fly and go see, multi-million dollar producers, over the course of the years, thinking whatever it is they're doing, I just need them to copy their system, their mailer, their presentation, their style, something. And every time I went out and saw these guys, it was pretty much the same thing. They were very successful, but they had some sort of niche thing they were doing. It really wasn't duplicatable, even though they wanted to think it was. It wasn't about the products. It was just about the relationships they had built up in their community. And unfortunately, when I could come home, that wasn't duplicatable at all. So I never really had a working relationship with an IMO. I actually could care less about them up until I met with you guys. And the reason is there was no value to me. They would call up, hey, push this product, push that product. They didn't know anything about them. 9 out of 10 times, I knew more about the product than they did, and even if I wasn't actively selling it, just because I spent the time to research and understand the products. As far as marketing ideas, send this mailer out, do this, try them. It didn't work for me. It just wasn't, I wasn't breaking into the market. And then I kind of met you guys. I know Todd gave us a call, ended up talking to my dad, and we had definitely knew of you guys from the past. And so we thought we'd check out what this proprietary product is because, hey, when you can't sell, maybe it's because you have the wrong product, so you never know. So we took a look at it, and let me tell you, Robert, the big difference between what other people are doing and what you guys are doing at Senior Advisory, and I know you guys work with a lot of different carriers, but you specialize in one. And I think that's a huge difference. When I call Todd up and I have a question about the product, he knows. It's not like I'm calling him up and saying, hey, I'm just happening to look at this bizarre product from this other company that he's never maybe even had an advisor sell. He doesn't even know anything about it. I mean, he knows this product inside and out. So when I have a client or a situation or something I can come to him with, I'm not getting a shotgun response of, well, you can sell one of these products from 5 different carriers. He says, Steve, this is how the BAA product works. This is how it can work for your client, and let me explain all the pieces of this so you can go out there and make a sale. That's a huge difference that I think is important. The second step is when you guys bring marketing ideas to me, they're not, hey, go down to the bar and pull out a napkin and draw some circles on it and see if you can sell some annuities to some people there. You bring me real things that other people are really doing and not just saying, hey, go out and just do this. You're saying, hey, let me get you the number of the guy that's doing the most of the business with this. Here's his process. Here's what he's doing. Here's how he's doing it. But if you have any questions, why don't you give him a call? He'll take the time to help you be successful. Huge difference. Nobody else does that.
You're absolutely right. Nobody else does that. And you collaborate on a level that, and that's why you're even on this call. You're here to, share your insight and expertise with SOFA. And I will say this, I have had the opportunity and continue to have the opportunity and relationship in working with you, as a strategist and coach for you. And I know that, we talk about specifically your goals and objectives and where you're heading and so on and so forth. And sometimes we laugh about it because, last year, we were watching your numbers and working together. You produced over $6 million. Now you're heading over, you're starting to clip that $10 million mark, which is just freaking, it's amazing to watch your growth. And one of the conversations we're having is you know what, I could take this, I could double this. And you have the belief, but you also have the focus, and that's what's really getting you there.
Yeah, absolutely. You can. Before I met you guys, I was doing $1 million or $2 million. A rollover business, not flexible premium. In addition to the flexible premium business, and I was always hoping, man, if I could just do another couple million, it'd be what a game changer it would be. And I meet you guys, and now I'm on pace to do at least $8 million this year, and that's incredible. I can't even tell. I never thought I would be at that kind of level. It was something I always dreamed about, never thought it was possible. And now I'm not thinking $8 million. I have still more time. I can do more. And it's exciting because I know I can do it, and I know there is no limit to where we can take this now.
For those that just got on this call, Steve is in Bakersfield, California. If you know anything about Bakersfield, it is not necessarily the thriving metropolis of the United States. He's in an area where, you've got to work and you've got to market and you've got to do the right things to get the business. And started from 0, has grown his practice last year to 6. Now he's, pacing more towards 10. And we're already looking at next year's objectives. And that's really why I love the SOFA program, because it's something that makes you think long term. It's something that makes you think about your practice in a way maybe you haven't thought about it in the past. And for those that just got on this call, one of the things that's really important is that you want to stay till the end, because we're going to have a special announcement with SOFA in regards to, at the end of the call, a special program, because SOFA has partnered with Senior Advisory Group, and we want to be able to share that with you. So also, if you're not contracted, you're going to hear me say this a couple of times. Write this number down, 1-800-256-1696. I've talked to all the marketers here. They're going to be available right after this call to take your call and to give you more details in regard to SOFA and see if you're qualified and see if this is the right thing for you, so that we can help you grow your practice. Also on this call, we have Jake Chilton. Jake is he runs the day-to-day operations of SOFA. He's in San Diego. He's the son of the founder of SOFA, Jim Chilton. He is also a licensed agent, so he understands. I mean, really, these guys understand our business, and that's what's important. And Jake, any more about your background you want to share?
Not too much. A lot of what I do really is, that day-to-day stuff, just really making sure that we take care of our members from a customer service standpoint, make sure that they get plugged in when they join with us and that they get on the right track, because there's a lot of really good opportunities within our program. So to make sure that each guy, really grasps onto the concept as well as those strategies to really build a name for themselves within their community. So that's a lot. That's where my passion is within working this operational stuff.
And Jake is definitely focused. I talk to Jake probably every day, and and that's when you think about collaboration, marketing, partnerships, working towards an end goal. I got another question for you, Steve Van Meter. How often do you call into this office? How often do you talk to Todd in this office? I think we might have lost Steve. Well, he'll be back on. So anyway, let's continue to move.
I'm here,
there?
Yeah, there you are. I was trying to take you off speakerphone. I talk to Todd at least once a week. He knows what's going on with me. I know what's going on with him. And it's not just a business relationship. It's not just, Todd doesn't call me up and ask me, Steve, how much you writing this week? That's not, Todd's a friend of mine now. I mean, I know what's going on in his life. He knows what's going on in mine. And then once we're done with that, we talk about, okay, what do we need to do to get this business placed? Where are we at with the business we got to get it paid? What do we need to do, and where are we headed? So I talk to him, like I said, at least once a week.
At least once a week, and that's really what it's all about. And that's why it works, because you are focused, you have a direction, you've got a plan. I mean, we're talking already together about, what you want to do 2013, 14, 15, 16. What is your long-term objective? And SOFA can help you get there. So what is SOFA? It's the National Nonprofit Education Speakers Bureau, 501c3 public benefit group, and nonprofit status allows for unique marketing opportunities to reach into companies, churches, and all types of organizations. Jake, why don't you expound a little bit about, what SOFA is, because you're there every day, you live it, eat it, breathe it.
Yeah, absolutely. To the core of what we are, what we represent to financial planners, insurance guys, is really that nonprofit status, which will allow them to gain access into these companies and organizations that they wouldn't be able to get into. Robert, one of the greatest things you've ever, when we had a conversation once, you were talking about how difficult it is to sell yourself. When these guys represent a national nonprofit organization, on top of being, like a certified speaker and a content expert within their field, I mean, the opportunity for them, for the perspective of these human resource managers, of these event coordinators at these organizations, they're seen in a completely different light. And then from there, being invited in as the guest rather than being that host salesman. These guys put on these dinner seminars and all of these things on their own dime. You get plugged in the SOFA and you're invited in as that content guest speaker. It's really a kind of a genius perspective. So.
No, it definitely is, and I love this benefits of membership. New opportunities through education, position yourself as a content expert. You're building, you're managing your own team. You got a national presence, credibility, because the list of people that SOFA has worked with is tremendous, and we'll be sharing a little bit about that with you right now. So, and I know, Steve, you become an expert. I know you've got several stories that you want to share. An expert in your community. Why don't you go ahead and talk about some of the things that just maybe one really high. I know there's one thing you want to focus on. Just highlight that one where you are right now with your experience with SOFA.
Real quick, along the process of talking to people, I think it's important for everyone on the call to know that just because you walk into a business or municipality or an organization with SOFA, it's not an automatic in. I've had plenty of no's. But just like in business, we go through enough no's to get some really good yeses. The first one I got out of the gate, got to speak at the local university here. They were in the process of shutting down their adult ed program due to lack of funding. I was one of the last classes they did, and one of the most successful ones they had done in the history of their adult ed program. They're in the process of trying to figure out how to bring some sort of adult ed program back. If you call the Galaxy, say, Steve's one of my top 3 speakers, he'll be back just because of the feedback we've got from the SOFA program. Astounding. One of the next ones I got hooked up with was an organization called the Chartered Life Underwriters, who meets at, we have a very large regional State Farm office here. Many of you probably will wonder, why would I want to speak at a corporate State Farm office? Half of them are probably agents and the other half are financial advisors. Well, here's what I found out. The agents at State Farm do not really service the people in the corporate office. They're all hungry and starving for financial advice. I came in there, they had a normal meeting where they usually get 40 or 50. Because of me showing up, they had 70 people come. I did get a client out of that as well. Fantastic. Now people are talking about me in this big office full of hundreds of employees, all looking for someone to do business with. But probably a couple of the most exciting ones I've got, back in February, I was introduced to the head HR manager of the city of Bakersfield here, and I went down, and this is the big fish, this is the whale that we're all looking for. 1,500 employees, and I expected to get shot down faster than I could walk in the door. Well, things went a little bit differently, and it was even more interesting. This was one of the very early SOFA calls I went on, so I didn't really know what I was doing. But I sat down with a gal. She said, I'm new to the area. I'm new to this position. I come from another city, and where I come from, I'm really big on education. We went through the program. She stopped me halfway through, and she goes, this was on my list this year to do for 2012. To get someone in to talk about financial stuff. She goes, you're the guy. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. And then she says, here's all the reasons I can't do it right now, but here's my number. Let's stay in touch. Robert, I spoke with her on Tuesday. They're in the process of hiring someone to handle all of the training, which will be my liaison, to 1,500 employees. They have said I will have access to everybody by email. She said, you want to go to the fire stations? I'll get them open for you. You want to go to the police stations? They'll be waiting for you. I'll have a place at the city you can speak. We'll make it available to all the employees. I spoke with her yesterday. Here's what she said. She goes, we're almost ready for you. We're doing open enrollment for our qualified plan later this year. I'm still getting the person for you hired. She goes, we are committed to having you, Steve, handle all of our financial education. Now, let me tell you, I was running some numbers, Robert. They have 1,500 employees here in the city. And I don't know a lot about turnover ratios, but let's say 5% of those employees left the city each year for retired or whatever. That's 75 people who might need a financial advisor for some reason or other. But let's say only half of them had any money. That's 37 and a half people. I don't know what the average rollover is, but if it's 100,000, that's putting me in front of $3 to $4 million of business a year I would never see. And here's the best part. You know what it cost me? Nothing.
What cost you?
Nothing.
Exactly.
So,
just the benefits of membership.
So here's my last real quick story. I had another client who came in. Well, actually, he's not a client. He just wanted some financial advice, and I wouldn't charge him. I normally don't do that. And we got done, and he said, "Okay, Steve, you've given me some advice. So what can I do to help you?" Well, he actually is a pretty high manager at one of the world's largest farming corporations that's here in Bakersfield. And they're one of the big players in the organic market, huge. And I said, well, I've told him about the SOFA program, just like Jake's dad coached me to do. And he said, well, right next door to my office is the head HR guy. Let me see what I can do. Month, 2 went by, nothing. I called the guy, followed up with him. And finally I got home and he says, Steve, I promised you I'd do it, and I have not held my end of the bargain up. I'm going to do it. Here's the cell phone number of the head HR guy. They probably have over 1,000 employees, very highly paid people in this company. I have a meeting with him next Tuesday. I've got his assistant's phone number. She now calls me to make sure my appointment's still there. Here's the exciting thing. I used to live in a world of, if I do another seminar or another event or another class, I need to get people there. I need to sell so many people. And that's how I run my business. Let me tell you how SOFA is changing my long-term view, Robert. I need about 5 or 6 of these companies 4,000 or 5,000 employees that I'm speaking to, and I will be doing $10 million a year of business somehow without any cost. That's the future of my business. And here's the great part.
You know, you're absolutely right. And one of the things I wanted to just ask you, because I see your cases that come in, and I know education is your methodology of selling.
Yes.
Just, you know, your average case size, I mean, I'm not going to say it. You say it. Go ahead. I mean,
I don't know what it is. I don't track it.
Well, I have to say this.
The size of the case doesn't matter to me. This year, I was very blessed to write two $2 million cases. I don't know what the record is for the largest single premium case written, but that's got to be up there.
Your case average is definitely. I mean, we're talking. You know, the norm being with our product is, you know, $250. You're way above that. I mean, you're in that $400,000 or $500,000 range, and it's just amazing just to watch your progress and your success. And there again, I want to say this one more time. We're talking Bakersfield, Arizona. I know, Jake, I know you even know where that is, and I'm sure you don't spend your vacations there.
No, this isn't a place anyone wants to go.
More of a pass-through.
Yeah.
What'd you say, Jake?
It's a pass-through.
It's a pass-through town. Yeah, that's exactly right. So included in membership, turnkey seminars, over 40 seminars, promotional materials ready, already compliance approved, back office support. As it was alluded to, Jake's father does the coaching, and it's a constant continuing education. I like to position SOFA this way. This is an opportunity for you to get educated as an advisor, build your skill set, and get back to the basics of what we used to do many, many years ago, and that is we use our voice to get prospects. Well, you're now going to not just have your voice. You're going to have a calling card that is a special card that gets you in because you are part of this nonprofit organization that provides content for you. All the content is done. All you have to do is walk in, meet with the HR person, do the program, book the appointment, do the program. But the key here that you may have missed, that Steve talks about, is that once you are in once, you get to go back again, and again. And there again, you're not feeding them. It's on their site. It costs you nothing. Talk to me, Jake, a little bit about some of the content that you guys have there at SOFA.
In terms of PowerPoint presentations, they're pre-packaged. You know, we have, I'm trying to think how many. I think we have anywhere from 40 to 50 PowerPoint presentations right now ready to go, and a lot of those are you know, when we do workshops at these companies and organizations, you know, we like to do a series of workshops, not just a one and done. So that, you know, we'll start out with like a getting fiscally fit, or avoiding financial blunders, or, you know, debt management. And then we go in, you know, that next seminar, which is a month later or 2 weeks later, will be exploring your options for a quality retirement. Or, you know, I mean, those types of specific educational workshops that go hand in hand with really being able to work with these people on an individual level. And then another thing is, you know, Robert, I've talked with you about how we're going to have our new website up within the next month. From a content standpoint, I mean, we're blowing it out of the water like 1,000, 2,000%. We've really made a push to get content from professors at colleges, from government agencies, to where there's education that they're willing to provide for us. So we're also in the process of taking our seminar topics list, you know, from 45 to 100, to where it'll be more specific to our members, so that they can really tie in that education to their potential products that they're going to be pushing. So.
And the really cool thing about it is that you don't, as a member, you're not renting rooms, you're not feeding the attendees, and there's no direct mail. You're not paying for the
Yeah. We have on our, when you get access into our member side of the website, you get that everything's downloadable, the content, the PowerPoint presentations. There's handouts. On our end, we follow up with the contacts over there to make sure that they get the flyers out for the event. We also send them a template of email for them to send out, blast out to all of their employees. And then we also follow up the head counts 2 weeks out, a week out, and 3 days before that event, to make sure, you know, that you're aware of the people that will be there. And I have our one of our guys who follows up with the head counts. I get those every day. I see the head counts on every event that we do across the country, and just see those emails that come in every single day is the best part of my day to see. 40 people at this workshop, 80 people at that conference room, 25 people at this, medical association. All the doctors in that area are going to be there. Those emails that I see with the head counts, knowing that event is in a couple days, is really the icing on the cake to see what we're doing coast to coast.
You can do these seminars, at companies, churches, organizations, noontime hour, lunch and learn style. We're talking about, prime time. It's this is not even, you're not doing these at night. You have all your entire day. You can get home at night to your family. But this is the cool thing about it. It's that you're on their property. You become their expert. They are promoting you, and they come back to you, and all the information is educational. And Steve, I just want you to talk a little bit about, you give the seminar, right? You give the program, you give the content. How does it happen where, I come to you and I say, hey, I want to do business. How does that transaction take place?
I'm sorry, Robert?
Yeah, you there, Steve?
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry.
Yes. My question was, you're giving a seminar, right? And
Yeah.
You've got a group of people. How is it that they then begin to want to make contact with you after that particular seminar?
Yeah, this is really important, especially for anyone on the call that does, dinner seminars or anything of that nature. When you do a SOFA seminar, and when you sign up and you speak with Jake's dad, this is really something important. When I go to these events and I have gone and forgotten to bring my business cards, I only bring my business cards. I do not bring anything else other than the material provided by SOFA. I get up, I give them a brief 50-second piece about me. I'm a local advisor. I write for the paper, blah, blah, blah. Let's get to the presentation. I don't sell myself at all, period. And no, it's very different than a lot of people are used to. At the end of the presentation, there's an evaluation. On the evaluation at the bottom, it says, I'd like to meet with the presenter. I don't even walk them through that. I mean, just briefly. And I don't push them to do that. I have my cards. Sometimes I even forget to take them out of my pocket. I'll set them on the table. And people will come up and ask me for my card. And I might talk to them briefly. And if they seem like they're interested in something, I ask them, did you fill out the bottom of your evaluation so we could meet? I don't push them. This isn't something that you want to have the employees complain to the head of HR, hey, you came in here and tried to sell everyone. That's a quick way to get kicked out. What you want is the HR person to be like, my employees are happy, they got educated, and yeah, sure, some went and saw you, and that's great too. That's fine. And that's kind of how I approach it. It's a very soft sell.
And it works. Average 18 to 22 interested parties, 60-65% positive response rate. An average member does 2 to 3 workshops per month, which is what Jake alluded to. It's not a one and done deal. It is a constant. It's a constant working with and building that relationship with a company that has a massive number of employees. And these are just a list of some of the companies that you're able to refer to as your membership at SOFA to say, these are some of the companies that we work with. Training online, 29 defined training videos, step-by-step SOFA training program with a handbook. And Jim Dad loves getting you on the phone, and he walks you through training. Real quickly, Jake, why don't you talk a little bit about the training piece and how important it is for advisors to commit and focus on the training piece?
Yeah, absolutely. The training itself, those 29 videos go hand in hand with our membership handbook. So when our members join up, they get their nonprofit business cards. They get a handbook to go through our core beliefs, community, communication, relationships, financial education, and how all of those things tie right in to making this thing a success. So the training itself, those videos, it starts out our core beliefs. Then you go into a lot of, that training is very marketing strategic. It's a high emphasis on marketing, on really how to represent SOFA and how to leverage every opportunity that you can within the resources that you have and that we provide. And then from there, it also goes into what Steve Amir was just talking about in terms of, within the training, even how to do a SOFA seminar, make sure you're not selling any products of any kind, connecting with those individuals. And then from there, just basically letting our members know everything that goes on within our programs, all of the resources we provide. And that training is very, very essential because it lays the foundation of who we are, what we represent, and your role within our organization, because we want to do everything that we can to help you generate business representing a nonprofit.
That's awesome. Yes, and the training is very, very important. Steve, while I've got you on here, would you like to elaborate any more on the training side? Because I know you went through it, and I know you constantly review it. And how important is training, Steve?
I tell you, as a salesman, sometimes you get out there and you get some early success. And you think, oh, I can do this, and that happened to me. I had a couple of good hits early, and then I went through a string of no's. I mean, I thought, oh, they're just saying no to SOFA. I think they were saying no to me. And but I was in denial. Sometimes as an agent, we do that. And I wasn't doing any training calls with Jim at that point. I kind of cut him off. I didn't, set anymore. And I finally called into a connecting in call, and Jim was on there and said, look, if you're not doing the coaching and you're not making these things happen, then it's your fault. And I called in immediately, and I made an appointment with him. And he got me straightened out and has really got me set on how to do these. If you think you can get this and go out and do it without Jim's help, you're crazy. Maybe you've got some great relationships, but Jim knows that he invented it. He's done it 1,000 times. He knows what to do. So get hooked up with a trainer with him. Let him teach you how to do it. Be open-minded. Because if you do it, you'll be more successful than I was. There's no question about it.
Definitely important. Jim and I talk all the time, as I do with Jake, and we're always talking about ways to really keep the guys engaged and make sure they're getting the training that they need. So part of your support, workshop support, build relationships that they coordinate for you. Compliance department is there, marketing department, branded materials, integrated new workshop ideas. In some cases, if you have a workshop idea that you think is a great workshop, tell you what, SOFA and Jake and I, we will all work together and just try to and make that one of the programs. Assist with press release, member services. We just talked about individual coaching, easy access business cards and marketing materials. And that's important. That business card is very important because that's your calling card. You have people that you know right now that can help you get into a company, but you don't have the ability to have that conversation. This gives you the ability to have the conversation with your friends, family members, people that you might have worked with in the past, and they're able and they're not going to be resistant in getting you that introduction because you're going under the auspices of a nonprofit. You represent a nonprofit that teaches financial awareness to companies, and that's really important in the conversation. PR and promotional material for workshop is also provided. Now, this is something special that we've all been waiting for. We have a very, very different exclusive relationship with SOFA, and because we've been working with them on an ongoing basis for quite some time. And a normal program with SOFA does not offer what's being offered here. And the Jumpstart program is basically this. It is 2 setups. SOFA will provide that opportunity for you to get started by doing those 2 setups, those 2 initial appointments with somebody in the that can book the seminar for you within a company, whether that's HR or somebody in training or whatever it might be. They'll work with you to identify who those companies are in your area, and they will book those, get those first 2 setups done for you as part of the membership fee. Jake, you want to talk a little bit more about the setups?
Yeah, absolutely. The process of SOFA, how we work to do these workshops in your community, there's in a sense like a methodology to gain access into companies and organizations, and it's step by step process. First, when you're with SOFA, you do the promotional piece, marketing of who SOFA is, and you're working hard to get into these companies through the connections that you have. I can tell you this, every single SOFA member would tell me on the phone, the hardest part about being successful with SOFA is that gaining access with the contact or with the specific company. And what Jumpstart program does is within that first quarter of membership, we get you plugged in with a couple companies right away. And the way it's set up to where you get 2 within that first quarter, within that first month of membership, you really go through the training, you get connected with Jim, and you go through a couple weeks of training. You get acquainted and you get confident with everything that you have, and then from there, you're ready to go into that setup. And what that setup is, all it is a 10 to 15 minute appointment to where you've been invited in, we've gained access into the company, and you provide the packet of information of who we are, what we do, what our purpose is, and what your specific role is, being that local representative on this nationwide financial awareness that we're providing. And then from there, within that 10 to 15 minutes, you're presenting the topics we have. We do a series of workshops, not just one. This is what I'd like to do. I'd like to meet with you, as well get familiar with what your employees need so that we can work together, and I'd really like to represent your organization. And when we get you in there, that these contacts have what we do on our end is we get you into the door of organizations that have an interest, that have a need for your specific service.
That's awesome. Yes, and here's the cost of the program. We got 3 options, and it's really important because to get started quickly, what we're saying is that you don't have to worry about getting into those first couple of companies. We want to get that momentum. Momentum is everything, of course, in selling. But option A, $2,500 annual membership, no initiation fee. Option B, $1,200 first quarter, $175 after the end of the first quarter. So it's $1,200 down, and then after 3 months, it's $175 monthly membership. And option C, $250 monthly membership with a $295 initiation fee. Exclusive to Senior Advisory Group. There's no other marketing organization that has this particular program, the Jumpstart program. So if you are interested in this, this is definitely a great way to get started, to get moving, and to get going with SOFA. So we've got more details on this program that we can send the marketer. You have to call your marketer, and the marketer will talk you through it. Once again, our number is 1-800-256-1696. Also, just closing comments, Steve. Anything else that you could share that you suggest that, in looking at this program and why an advisor should really kind of bring this into their particular marketing, ongoing marketing initiatives?
Absolutely. Robert, and you and I have talked about this extensively. The business is changing. It's a little harder. People aren't showing up at our seminars, responding to our mailers. There's more competition. Let me tell you what SOFA does. It's going to change the future of my business. When I'm out at a company speaking, and someone that next week gets called in the manager's office, gets laid off, gets encouraged to retire, and now that time, the change happens. And this is what we're all looking for as an advisor, when money moves. And they have to make a change. Who are they going to call? Are they going to open up the phone book? Are they going to turn on the radio? They're going to look at the paper? No. They're going to kind of call the guy that's been out there speaking 4, 5, 40 times, who knows how many. See, right now, I look at, in my business, I'm going after people who already have an advisor. They've already retired. They've already moved their money, and I have to separate them from that relationship. With SOFA, I'm going to be number one. I'm going to be the first guy in line. It's going to be my business to lose. They're going to call me. And that's what's really exciting about this. When I go out and I do a presentation, I expect to get no business the first time. I don't even think I'll get business the second, third, fourth, or fifth time. Here's my goal. My goal is for everybody, when I go speak to the city, of all those 1,500 employees and all of their spouses, to know who I am. because there'll be a day when they need insurance or to roll over or to invest or something. They're going to call me. It's going to take some time, but that's the future of this. And it just gets me excited because I just know how many people are out there that are going to be thinking about me, hearing from me. There's going to be no other advisor that could be there any quicker than me unless they live in their house. I'm the guy. And that's the future. That's why I think if anyone wants to be in this business over the long term, this is the best way to be going. You need to start this now. Don't make this your entire business, but just like me, keep doing everything you're doing and start getting out there and talking about stuff and getting in places. And I guarantee you over the next 5 years, your business will change. You won't be sending out mailers. You won't be doing that. People will be knocking down your door to come see you.
Dave, you're absolutely right. And one of the things we look at is we have a variety of programs, what we call the short-term programs to get our advisors in front of people immediately. The programs in the middle that take a little bit of time in cultivating, and then we have what we call the strategic program. SOFA is definitely more of a strategic initiative that builds your practice on a long-term, ongoing basis. Definitely appreciate you being on the call this morning. Jake, any final comments?
No, it was great being on the call. I appreciate it, and Stephen, good to hear from you as well, Van Meter, and I think that's it.
Well, Steve Stern, are you here? I don't know if you can hear me. If you're still on the call, just wanted to give you an opportunity to say hello to the folks. If you're on the call, I'll give him a couple of seconds. He may have jumped off. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for participating today. And hopefully you have learned something. But the most important thing that you can do is what Steve Van Meter said, and that is talk to your marketer. They are here, and they're willing. They want to engage you and talk to you a little bit more about SOFA, the Jumpstart program, and even other programs that we have here at Senior Advisory Group. Once again, I want everybody to have a great weekend. Hopefully your teams win tomorrow and Sunday, and look forward to you on the next call. Thanks a lot.